So I'm Daniel Toker. I am a neuroscientist. I study information flow in the brain. And information, has both the sort of colloquial and philosophical and mathematical definition. And it's basically just a way to understand how communication works, to use math to understand communication. I think things like consciousness, things like the process of life itself even, are essentially forms of information processing. It's certain kinds of information structures persisting through time. I think if you really pause to think about this interesting duality of information, it does start to feel quite spiritual. So when Zahra and I were talking about these ideas, we both kind of revealed to each other our poems about reflecting on sort of the poetry of science, and I'm going to read those. The dead disintegrate under the surface of the earth, right? Then worms and soil help turn flesh into salt and minerals. Then, with time, their bodies become a part of the rest of the planet, contributing to the makeup of its creatures, like us, and so on. So we are made of the dead, you see? So we're like yet-to-be-dead people who are always already dead. The particles that make all things fluctuate in between small intervals of stillness, atoms of what once was, are now what will be. You could see it in the simple patterns that seem to repeat themselves. For instance, water rolls in streams and blood swims through my veins. Continents slide across the Earth's crust and new kidney cells are born. The Earth spins around the sun, and I digest food. The sun dances around the galaxy. I think about the nature of my mind. Nature moves and turns and is. It is, and I am it. It's the same way we're also made of dead stars. While we ourselves are mostly orifices and spaces that burn constantly, stars die and go back to burning, the revolutionary returning, ashes to ashes, stardust to stardust. There's something beautiful here in terms of both science and maybe even the metaphysical ideas that this science and this math can inspire. In a certain way, a lot of how we pass information on is a way to cheat death. So if you're a bacterium, you have genes and you pass those genes on to your progeny, and that is a way for information to sort of transcend the limited lifespan of a single bacterium. And the same is true, of course, for all living systems, plants and animals. When you have kids, you are passing your information on to them, and that information lives on and survives when you die. But humans also have stories. We can tell stories about ourselves, we can tell stories about the universe. Not only is information about your genes carried forward, but the information about you, who you were as a person, what you thought, what you felt, what you experienced, and what you knew is carried forward. Culture allows those stories to transcend their own limited mortal lives. It's, in a certain way, a way to cheat death. It's a way to survive.